Prem Sulavindra Bihari Lala Ki Jai. Cordial welcome and Sitaram to each and every one of you as we get set to get started. Tonight we begin here at the Ashram, 3 nights of virtual Yagna, Gyaan, Gyaan meaning we are going to share some knowledge and indicative of readings that are going to be taken from various texts, no one particular text, as sometimes you will hear Ramayana Yagya, Bhagavad Yagya, etc. This Gyaan Yagya, this label indicates that we are going to discuss knowledge, information, things that bring clarity, and that clarity brings a heightened or improvement in our devotion as we approach God. Too often, people would say, I believe God, I follow God, I believe in something, but I don't know God. The truth is, I wish I could understand why, as a Hindu, as a Sanatanist, I do certain things. We offer certain things, we give certain things in charity or dhan. And with it, I'm doing my prayer. And this is where our conversation tonight begins. I feel as if it's all for naught. Because to be fair, it is as if when you look at in the local fraternity, you look at the crime situation, it's a very scary, bleak outlook. When you look at international with weather patterns, when you look at where the snow supposed to be is rain and in some cases very hot sun, sometimes fire. Further, internationally, you will see war, famine, sickness, signs and omens. In different parts of the world of ailments and sickness, different religions speaking of trouble, like with the drying up of the Euphrates River, etc. Different things are being happening of recent and maybe in the long term. And in this, let's say, our conversation, this started off for me with the little crime spree. We were traveling and we were hearing of, different attacks, racial attacks, that we should jump their fences and attack them in their home. That did happen locally. Someone of a different race is saying to another race that better we kill them, better we jump their fence, better we do this, that, and the other. And after that, we saw a spree of crime that continues. It is continuing. And it's very scary. As a pundit, we have to be straight. We have to be very, very, very open. It's real. It's happening. I can't sit in front of you and pretend it's not happening. I can't do that. But then we have to be mindful of the reality too. Some people, from my experience as a pundit, when these things, when hardships, when job losses, when prices, look at what's going on in England. For those of you viewing tonight on Bhakti TV, we have Bhakti TV with us. Sitaram and cordial welcome to all the viewers on the Tigo app and Bhakti TV platform. I'm streaming live on YouTube. I'm streaming live on Facebook and as well as on TikTok. So all viewers in all the various platforms, Sitaram, and cordial welcome this evening again. When you're in England with the cost of living, in different parts of the world, the hardships, it's scary. Someone, my good friend, he's a dean in the secondary school in Barapur, he says, but pundit, isn't it that we say now is Kaliyug? My good, I have to say, my godson, Mr. Singh, I know he's watching tonight. I'm not going to highlight his name. When I heard of the racial slur and the attack, I want to admit here very, very openly. I was abroad and I called him on the phone and I was very upset. Why, could someone go and attack a religion and a race of people like this? Can't we legally contact the lawyers or, do something to stop and desist. When people incite hatred and incite attacks like this, what will happen to younger ones that hear it? You're telling somebody, attack them in their homes, jump their fences. What's going to happen? Young people are going to listen to the older, because this was an elder person speaking. Now, in my personal view, here in Hindustan, I've grown up with mixed race, mixed religion, and I love them. I grew up playing with them. We used to eat chow together, play football together. So I am not familiar with this. I know you have respect for everybody. Auntie this, uncle that. People from different race and religion, I grew up with them, lighting India and helping me. That is my reality. In many instances, in some places, people say because of my religion, if you offer the roti or you offer the prasad, I can't eat it. In our village, we grew up, man, once the food tasting good and it had good salt, we eating it. Once it have pepper and it tastes good, them ladies, them in that temple could cook very good. And that is what I grew up with. So when I heard it, understand where I'm coming from, I became very hurt and I became very afraid and I did get anxious. Mr. Singh reminded me that, Pandit, it is Kaliyug. It is Kaliyug. And Kaliyug loses in this time. There's this image, for those of you that know your Bhagavad Dharma, the bull loses 3 legs and is standing on 1 leg. So I know what he was talking about, so I remembered it. So after that little conversation, and we discussed things that we could do and, how we could better prepare and prevent. And activities were planned, etc. I came home and I have my nephew tonight behind the songboard and all the different apps, the background music, the Mevo camera and all these technological things that we're looking at this evening. Is this young man, Sachin Sankar, and his sister, Sanjali. They're always with me left and right. And I said, Sachin, what is Kaliyug? In every satsang, everybody, to correct me if I'm wrong, every satsang we hear the pundits banter this word, it's Kaliyug, Kaliyug. In Kaliyug we do Satyanarayan Puja, we have to offer the fig to Satyanarayan Baba, etc., etc. But what is Kaliyug? If somebody says that, like how Mr. Singh said that to me, to you, the Hindu, what is Kaliyug? In the Christian faith, in the Islamic faith, in different faith, they have their construct of time, and there's a good age, the age of truth, and then there's a dark age. In our Dharma, we're going to talk a little bit about that, and that is Kaliyug, the age of darkness. But in talking, and in the temple, there's a lot of young people, everybody, and with the different occasions we had recently, like the beach cleanup, and then we had practice all week before the Mother's Day program, and we were doing different things, and I wanted to do this Yagna now because I always talk about Kaliyug. What is Kaliyug? And the answer that Sachin came back to me, wow, this is a man, he's a young boy, this is a man in satsang fairly regular. He's associated with all the Baba, Pandita Bedanan and Sunil and everybody. Listen, Guruji's all, they know these children. They are in satsang since they're born. But he says, Mamu, Kaliyug is the dark age, the bad time. People do bad things. That is about it. That is all we know. We don't know much about it. We don't know. So I thought this is where we would begin. This is Indian arrival weekend in Trinidad. The Honorable Basil Pandey celebrated his 90th birthday. Because of his works and his initiative, this holiday was granted to highlight the sacrifice and the contribution of our people. And I wish you all happy Indian arrival day in front. In Guyana, we are getting ready for Independence Day. And we have many things to celebrate. But we also need to be mindful of what's going on around us. And tonight, let me begin. As we enter into Bhagavad tonight, we are going in other texts going on in the next 2 nights reading. We're going to be reading from Skand 1, chapter 12, to the end of the Skand. It's about 7 chapters tonight. And we have some information to describe as we set the tone. What is Kaliyug? And in this Gyaan, you're going to hear a little bit about where does it live, where is it coming, when did it come, and some of the discourse. Let's begin tonight, everybody. Please draw your hands. Those of you looking on at home, I welcome you again. If you came in late, we just did the little introduction, the little preface for our Yagna and our meeting like this. For those of you abroad, it's been some time since I did it online, and it is a blessing to be in your company. For those of you wide and far in this age of Kaliyug, even with this Yagna, we had an occurrence that's so funny. You say it's Kaliyug. We'll get into that as we go. Let's begin with prayer, short prayer, and then we'll go into our discourse. We don't have much time tonight. Draw your hands and close your eyes, and let's think, dear God. Our discourse, our learning tonight is going to aim at edifying young and young at heart about your discourse, about your teachings, what is to be done and how it is to be done during this time. What are my options? Prabhu, where ignorance lives, mistakes are going to be made. We don't want to make these mistakes, dear God. We don't want to be callous. We don't want to be careless. We don't want to be ignorant or arrogant, egotistical. We don't want to make those mistakes. Please help us by listening to your text, by your words. We can become free from past sin, the karam, and as a result, the punishment, the sin, the pain that we are all going through in different ways, far and wide. Throughout this world, people are undergoing some form of oppression, and we want to be freed from that pain. Please help me understand what is going on in my life, in my world, and how I can better help myself. Together, everybody. Oh, Gajananam Bhutaganadisevitam Kapetajam Palachar Bhakshritam Humasutam Sho Kavinashakarakam Namami Vigneshwara Padapankajam Sarvamangalmangalye Shive Sarvarta Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Simple mantra, everybody. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. One more time. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. With your permission, for the purpose of time, allow me tonight to venture into Bhagavad with just this simple Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Forgive me tonight for the sake of time. I'm not going to do the Sumiran tonight. Tomorrow, tonight we have a lot of material to cover. We enter into chapter 12 of the first Skand. This is where Arjun is about to become a grandfather. We have to entertain who is the person that is going to meet Kaliyug in Bhagavad. Who is this person? At the very beginning of Bhagavad Puran, we are told that Arjun, the Pandava, the person who sits on the Bhagavad Gita, oh dear devotees, dear Hindus, please follow me. This individual bowing at the feet of Lord Krsna, if you didn't know, is Arjun. He has a son by the name of Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu, for those of you that know your Mahabharata, is the one who is taught within the womb by Arjun as he's talking. You could imagine the pregnant belly, and he's teaching the little baby inside the art of war. So he teaches who would one day be born as Abhimanyu, and many arts and different things and the science of war. There is something called the Veer Chakra, a method that is utilized in the art of war, where the let's say for summary purpose, it is from Mahabharata. All the desperados start to make a circle around the enemy, and the Veer, the person who is strong, that individual has a method of jumping into, through the circling effect, get into the middle now where the enemy is. And when he had taught him, he taught him how to go in, but he did not get the chance to teach him how to come out. At the same time, Abhimanyu takes birth and he comes into the world and he starts to grow. And in Mahabharata, in that section, Yudhishthira says it is as if a second Arjun is here. So knowledgeable. It is as if he was born with the knowledge. So this is where the Hindus have the habit of doing Sindhumanyan Sanskar and different Sanskar, 3 months, 6 months, Shashti Puja, 8 months, to build the baby with that certain amount of knowledge, love in the womb, the science. Think about it, before the Doppler, before any type of scan could be done medically, scientifically, in the Western world with technology. The Hindu believes something is happening inside that womb. You'll hear a little bit about it just now. And if the mother listens to God, if she reads good books, if the father talks to the womb, goodness is going to come from that child. In this example of Abhimanyu, great knowledge, great prowess as a king, as a Kshatriya, as a warrior was being displayed because what effort the mother put into the rearing of the child in those formative months in the belly. But it so happened when the Mahabharata war came, Abhimanyu is a teenager. And Yudhishthira says, it is time. Arjun is engaged in war on that side of the battlefield. We need you to stand with us now. You are the only one who could destroy this enemy. And he says, oh, my uncle, Chachu, Chacha, I have learned how to get into the Veer Chakra, but I do not know how to come out. Will you support me? Will you protect me? Will you be with me? This Abhimanyu gets married to Uttara. He's a married person, a young guy, but married. And Yudhishthira makes the promise that, yes, I'll protect you. You are my brother's son is like my son. We are going to charge together, and I'm not going to leave you, but you know how to get into that Veer Chakra, and I don't know how to do it. Fear not, my son, I will not leave you. And as you all know, who knows the Mahabharata, they go and they charge. But Bhishma and the others, they know. And they pull him, they isolate him, they make the circle. And he cannot come out of the circle. And when the word is sent, Yudhishthira he's outside and he can't get to save his nephew. The word is sent to Arjun and tears, bawling happens on that battlefield, because now the son of Arjun, Abhimanyu, is killed and stabbed, destroyed on that battlefield. Arjun bawls, but the war continues. Let's hear what happens. As our first look in our discourse tonight, in this battle of the Mahabharata war, Arjun and all the Pandavas are grieving for the losses that even they incurred. In one example, Abhimanyu is now dead, Uttara is with child, her belly is full, but she's a widow. And the enemies are still coming. They want to destroy this one. Draupadi lost 5. And Ashwatthama, this son of Drona, wants to destroy. Let's hear what happened. Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. 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 Matur Garva Gato ye virah satara bhrigu nanda he nandanam dasya darshan purusham kanchita hridaye mano hariyasteja swayam he putru Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Bol. 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 Tonight, let me just interject. Pandit Satyanand, Bhakti TV, please send us a message. The team here just wants to make sure everything is good on your end. For those of you looking on TikTok, those of you looking on different platforms, feel free to send a message, subscribe, like, share, so that others could learn. Send in your questions. They are looking on live and they will send it to me so I can answer in real time. What is happening? Imagine Uttara with her huge belly, the baby's inside. Inside here is the energy of the continuity of the Pandavas. He is enjoying, hungry. He is eating and drinking and developing. And then one day, when the enemy attacked the mother, the Garbha is the womb. That word Garbha refers to the womb of the mother of Uttara. Brahmastra, the weapon is selected by this great, powerful being, and he comes to destroy what was living within the womb. This is, again, the grandson of Arjun. Sukdev Goswami is talking. Saunak Rishi is listening. Sutji is speaking. He says, but in that moment, in the womb, Shuksham Sharid, the size of the thumb, a little light glittering, crown of gold, charming form, disposition, blue form, all the regalia, the Vaijanti Mala, the different signs, the Sudarshan Chakra, the 4 hands, the earrings, the gold, the eyes, the red eyes, Padmanabhya. When they say that, it doesn't mean soft. It means that the center is dark in his eyes and his eyes look red. So if you look at some of the Vishnumurti, you will see this bloodshot eyes, and this is where it comes from. Bearing the mace, Gada, Dada, different things are in his hand. Vishnu has appeared in the womb of Uttara. And what he does, lifts his hand and he blocks the heat that is coming from the outside world into the womb, to protect the child within the belly from the heat of the Brahmastras. If the sun itself wanted to penetrate the belly of this woman, to destroy this pregnancy, to destroy this child, this oncoming king, having warded off that arrow, the mighty Lord protected the nature of this individual, this babe that is in the belly, allowing this child to develop to the 10th month. Auspicious moment came, and the environment, there was a slight rain, a slight drizzle, and the dynasty of the Pandu race was maintained when this child was born. The father of Uttara has to stand in. There is no father. Yudhishthira has to stand in, and they get all the Pandits and Brahmins to come, Kripa, Dhaumya, and others to come and do the different Jat Karam Sanskar and all Mundan Sanskar, and all the birthrights are being done. Charity is being given as they celebrate this child. And because of the reading now, the astrologers and all others that were there, they talk about how Vishnu had come into the womb and had prolonged and preserved this life. He is known as Vishnu Ratha. In different texts, they refer to him as that. His proper name given as Parikshit. Parikshit, the grandson of Arjun. He is like a second, he will become, this is when they're reading what he'll become. He will be as if it's a second Arjun is standing here. His knowledge of weaponry, his strength, his tolerance, his patience, he is going to be so majestic. He will have the qualities of Krishna Bhagwan. He will be as devoted to Krishna as Prahlad was devoted to Lord Vishnu. And he, Nana, father of Uttara, Yudhishthir, standing here as Aja, Arjun's brother, he will be the one to punish those that stray from virtue so long as he's king. And when it is time for Kaliyug to come upon mankind, he will be the one to push it back, to subdue Kali, to persevere over the trapping and controlling of this individual that will be the entity or the energy of Kaliyug. He is going to be able to do that. Could you imagine? You're a king, you're a leader, you're a business owner, and somebody says, this is your grandson, and he's going to be able to do so great things. He's going to make you proud. He's going to reach where you didn't reach. And when the highest of the heights of bad comes, he will subdue that. Yudhishthir smiled. And one day, when death will have to come for him, he will die by the bite of a serpent by the name of Taksha. It will be caused by a curse. After a long life, he will get a shrap, and he will turn to defeat the Charan. Remember when you hear about Charan Amrit, the washing of the shaligram? Charan is the foot from the ankle to the toe. Charan, the Charan of Lord Vishnu, Padma Sevanam, the different forms of bhakti. He will turn to that, and in it, he will find the salvation. The king, this king, will find that when he gives up the body at the bank of the Ganges, he will surmount, he will ascend to Vaikuntha, and he will attain the heavenly region. Your lineage, the Pandu lineage, will continue. His son will live on. The family goes on. Rest assured, O Yudhishthir. All the Brahmin, all those that had read the astrology and gave them all the readings for the future, oh, so happy. They are proud of the child that has come into their home. And as time passed, the Mahabharata war finished. He says in this verse, whenever he saw, this is the little boy, Parikshit, little boy growing, whenever he saw a person after he was born, he used to think within himself, Narad Muni is saying, is this the same Purusha? Is this the same form that I saw whilst within my mother? The one I beheld when I was in the embryo stage, because of the knowledge that I was imbibed from my mother, from my father Abhimanyu, the knowledge that was there brought vision, drishti to me. And I remember, is this the person? And he looks and he's looking for this individual. He's looking for Lord Vishnu. And as the days in the month, in the moon month, the lunar month, in the dark half and the bright half, as he's under the care of his parent and he's growing this devotion, his linkage to Krishna, who is there at that time, is growing. He enjoys the discourse of his grandfather. He enjoys the stories of his I have to say, his uncle, Krsna. Having all these things, all the different happiness of this child growing, Yudhishthir would lead as the senior. He's the Raj, he's the Raja Yudhishthir. He did different forms of yagna. And after all the yagna was done, knowing that a king is secured, that Abhimanyu loss was a terrible blow, but now the dynasty is secured. Parikshit is here. And in this way, after all the yagya was done, all the thanksgiving was done, Krishna, together with Arjun, Draupadi, some friends, many members of the Yadu dynasty, they decided to now it was time to separate. As they were there together in Hastinapur for some time, Krishna wanted to go back to Dwarka. So Arjun went with him. And he went. And they stayed there for some time. In that time, as in chapter 13, Dhritarashtra is told that Kaliyug is coming. That with the end of the Kaurava, Pandava, the Kurukshetra war, now that that entire episode is done, Mahavishnu, Krishna incarnate, he's going to want to leave. Oh Dhritarashtra, it is very sinful in the verses 26, he says it is so sinful when a person only wants to live, and he's fighting and holding on to this life. When the teeth, listen to the words, when the teeth become slack, when the person becomes so weakened, but the only hold on this life is to hold on to lust, to hold on to money, to hold on to property. When that is the only reason you're living, regardless to the conditions under which you live. And the person has no idea, no thought, not an iota of thought, of thinking of Mahavishnu or the greater purpose, the higher purpose of going on to having mukti. Dhritarashtra, oh, how foolish, how blind, that in life you were born blind, and even now, as the inevitable death is coming, you are still even more blind. You are so foolish. Vidur, his younger brother, stepbrother, younger brother, is telling him how unfortunate Gandhari is that you, being her lord, being the leader, that she follows you faithfully throughout this life, and you are forcing her to remain here in the shackles of castle gold when all her children are dead, and she lives in this sullen, depressed state that she cannot leave here to even pray, because the prayer is singular. We must pray to live, pray to have attachment, pray to have goal, pray to have only that, even at your age. Why are you a hindrance even to your own migration, to your own mukti? Don't you pray to see the face of God? Don't you pray in your prayer? God knows when he's coming for you, but you could pray, dear Lord, in my youth, I made mistakes. Who doesn't make mistakes? Pandit included. We all make mistakes, but it takes the person with vision, with drishti, to say, you know what, I did make mistakes and I want to atone, I want to do Gayatri, I want to do my puja, I want to ask for forgiveness, dear God, because I did, in all honesty, I did make some errors. And if you are the person to lead by this, then Gandhari will be able to achieve Mahavishnu. Please consider this. After this advice, this is where Dhritarashtra leaves. Yudhishthira is a funny character, and there are many texts as we go on to the next chapter. Yudhishthira is a funny character because in many examples, in many texts such as Ganesh Puran and others, in Brahmavaivat Puran, he's asking in conversation to Lord Krishna, I realize I'm a very blighted person. I see everything in my life. I make stupid decisions. I say stupid things. I do stupid things. And I want to be better. I want my life. I want my existence to be of a better nature. What could I do? And in Padma Puran, in Skand Puran, in Ganesh Puran, Lord Krishna, for example, tells him, well, you can fast for Ganesh Chout and you can offer white rose dipped in ghee and offer it on the monthly Chout offering, and you would see the removal of your obstacles by the blessing of Ganesh Baba. If you do the Ekadasi, Brat Nirjal Ekadasi, Padma Mochan Ekadasi and other Ekadasi, and you do the worship of Mahavishnu, you will get and ascertain the protection and the blessing that you are looking for. And that same Yudhishthira now is asking, in the beginning of this chapter, he's saying, could you tell me, oh Bhim, I just lost my uncle and my aunt. They left me and they didn't tell me that Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, they just left me. When he finds out about it, he goes to tell Bhim, I've just lost my uncle and my aunt. Now, Bhim is known for not holding grudge. Please pay attention. This is after the war. This is the part of the discourse we don't get to hear too often, so please pay attention, dear Hindus. This is after everything. This is after Dhritarashtra hugged the Murti, the stone Murti, thinking it's Bhim. When Krishna, he was going to hug them after the battle was done. And Krishna pulls Bhim away and it guides Dhritarashtra's statue. And in that latter part of Mahabharata, for those of you that remember, Bhim is the statue. Dhritarashtra hugs Bhim and breaks with his strength, breaks the statue. And Bhim laughs. So now, the same Yudhishthira is speaking to Bhim, my dear brother, I've just lost my uncle and my aunt. They've left me and I'm alone. I don't have nobody. Dhritarashtra is the person who grew us when Pandu, our father, died. He was our foster father. Forget now all that went on. Burn them in the forest. Try to kill them. Do different things. Try to rape Draupadi. Forget all that. Forget all these things. I've lost them. I don't know where my aunt is. Bhim says, oh my brother, heavy is the crown that sits on your head. But know that they have gone to do their pious activity and they are working towards the greater good, heading to the Himalayan region of finding Mahavishnu and his abode. Take solace in that. He says, oh brother, Arjun has gone to Dwarka to see friends and to acquaint himself with our relatives, but it seems like he has gone beyond his 7-month absence. It feels as if he's gone for so long. I am missing him. At that time, Narad Muni comes and he's talking with Yudhishthira and he's asking him how is everything coming along, having done all his Yagna. Everything. How is everything in the castle? How is everything in the kingdom and everything? And Yudhishthira starts to say, my dear friend, my dear Muni, I am very worried, I am perturbed. I am taught in the art of seeing signs as a king. You know the signs. You know some of them. The twitching of the eye, the jumping of the lip for some people, the dreaming of certain things. You're going on a journey and a black kitten goes from your left side to your right side. Don't go, it could be cut short. Different things. Dog crying in the night. In Trinidad, we'll say vultures, kobo, some form of scavenger flying. Somebody's going to die. Different things mean different things. Different signs, are indicative of different things to come. It is the Shakun Sastra where these things are written, like the dream and all these things. Devi is basically, Durga Mata is basically guiding her children. Who is sending these signs? Who is the person speaking to you and I, to Yudhishthira here? Durga Mata says, I will continue to guide. When we talk about people hearing about the word Para Shakti, this Devi, who is the energy of everything, from the plants to the animals, to the sky, the environment, the temperature, the water, everything, the rain that falls when you're having your puja. Durga is sending a message. I'm dreaming muddy water upon it. Who is sending this message to you? Who says in the Shakun Sastra, if I dream between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. or when you get up, that is indicative of that bad or good sign coming now. It's going to manifest now in my life. If I dream between 7 p.m. 9 p.m. in that pahar, that is going to manifest roughly 4 or 5 years. Who is talking to you? Who is sending these messages? Durga Mata. That energy that fuels the Brahman, that fuels everything. Brahman, fancy word. Imagine the electrical energy, the atomic energy. You use a word that you understand, that is inside of everything. So that energy cannot be Indian people energy, African energy, Chinese people energy, Hindu energy, Christian energy, Muslim energy. It is none of that. It don't have that. It have energy. That is what your Hindu believe. Please be very careful with that idea and that concept. In Mahabharata, one of the definitions of what a Brahman or a Brahmin is, you must know what Brahman is. Knowledge of Brahman. And the knowledge of Brahman is the true face of God, more or less. My words are simple language for children to understand. Meaning, what is the true face of God? Does Durga, the female face or the fair face, opposed to the Kali face or the dark face? Which one is God? Does it only mean that God with straight hair is God? Does it mean only man? You know, we like to say God in his wisdom. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-mm. Knowledge of Brahman says Shakti is the energy where it does not have any, let me pretend is dear light. It does not have hands, it does not have skin color, it does not have hair texture, it doesn't subscribe to one thing, it is everything. Think about what you and I do when we say God is everything, God creates everything, but there are some people that says God could only live in the church, masjid, or the mandir that I build. So I limit him to what I could understand. When you understand what is Parashakti or the Brahman, you are saying God create all. And maybe the alien, and maybe the plants, and maybe everything. Everything is God. This is why the Hindu, and I'm summarizing this point, this is why the Hindu bows to plants, we bow to animals, we look at a nursing lion head human body and we call that God. God is everything, truthfully, in every form. He says, in my thighs and my eyes and my left hand, it is dancing perpetually. I find my heart racing. Jackals are crying. Fires are brewing from the earth. Let's say volcanoes erupting. Different things are happening within my body and outside of my body. For example, dreadful rains, clouds that seem to never end in darkness and downpour, flooding. All quarters, mountains are shaking, shattering, lightning. Different types of signs that something bad is coming. It is as if evil spirit and evil omens have come together to give us a problem, as if we have never seen this type of problem. The rivers, the ponds are drying up, and still there's rain, there's fires burning this earth in a way I have never heard of in this kingdom. Butter, clarified butter, pay attention to this. Ghee is becoming scarce. It is being beyond the reach of the typical bhakt. If the ghee, according to Gita, that is being offered into the fire is a reflection of the offering that will go to raise to the heavens to feed the devatas, when they cannot get it, what will they offer? I make a clarion call to the people that bring in cow brands ghee, which is the cow ghee that we so depend on as Hindu people. The Chinese with the freight, COVID is done, and freight cost is going down. The flour, the different items slowly coming down incrementally, but ghee, Mr. Ghee, is not coming down. It seems as if the things we depend on for our prayer and for puja must always be this highly costly thing. And because we need it, well, I guess they will pay for it. In the corporate world, Hinduism is prostituted in many ways, and we'll discuss that as we get in. This is one example. In New York, a 5-pound tin of cow brand ghee is about 30 US, let's say by $210. Trinidad, at sale price, $300 for the same thing. $320 upward, that's at sale. In these times, ghee becomes so harsh, so hard. How will the person be able to work their way out of it when the person cannot get, the cows are not giving milk, they have tears in their eyes, the bulls do not want to roam the pastures? How will young one come? How will milk come? Milk prices will rise and skyrocket, as it is happening now. Oh, dear Narad, I think some dreadful omen is coming. I think this earth is getting ready to disassociate itself from the feet of Krishna. Please listen to that. I think, oh Narad, Yudhishthira is telling Narad, I think these omens are hinting that the earth, Mother Earth, Dharti Mata, Bhumi Mata, is getting ready to separate herself from the feet of Krishna. And because of it, goodness is leaving, the fortune, the Lakshmi is leaving the earth, and in no form is happiness, joy, goodness roaming or present now. In this moment, with this conversation, Arjun enters. I'm looking at verse 23, chapter 14. Arjun returns to the city of the Yadu, Hastinapur, And Yudhishthira gets all happy and glad he sees his brother. In the elder one, the younger one is always going to be like the baby. And he says, oh, look, my brother reach home. Front of all the kings and everybody with humility, friend. That's still his brother. There's no my land and your land and 5 foot of land and 5 inch of land. None of that. None of that. That's my brother. Brother, out of respect, younger brother, Arjun dropped down and he still looks and respects his position. Now he's on the throne, Raja Yudhishthira. And he's paying homage, but he lowers his head and shedding tears and dropping profusely from his face. The younger brother is in this state. Bigger brother is saying, oh friend, oh my brother, what is the city of Dwarka like? The Madhus, the Bhoj, the Arhas, the Satyas, the Andakas, the Vrishni, all our family members, our grandfather Nana, Kunti's father, Sura, our maternal uncle, Mamu, if you didn't know this, Kunti's brother is Vasudev. And his younger brothers, all our aunts, Devki and all the other 7 sisters, the other wives of Vasudev. The old king, our elder Ugrasen. How are they? Kartavarma, Akrud, and all others. Shatrujit, Balaram. How are they? How is Padyamuna? How is this one? How is that one? And he's going off, and he's going off, and he's going, and he's going, and he's talking about his friend. Does that great Govind, the one who Brahma prays to, is he in that city of Dwarka? Is he surrounded by all his friends? The head of the Yadu, in that city where the Sudharma hall is most affluent, where Satyabhama, the different wives, the 16,000 women he saved. When the war was done, in one discourse, he saves them and he tells them, live here without persecution. In that great hall of Sudharma, where he is hosting great debates, is everything intact? And in that conversation, in this questioning, Yudhishthira realizes that Arjun is crying. Are you unwell, oh brother? Why are you without your energy? Oh, is it you feel as if you have been sent away from my court with some pain? Did I insult you? Did you, whilst you were coming here, did you leave some beggar, some person ask you for some help side the road and you didn't help them? Oh, Arjun, always give shelter to women, to young children, to cows, to elders, to females that need protection, the Brahmins that do your puja. Never, I have always taught you, boy, never leave these people without shelter. But don't worry, I will not hold you in mind. Do not make these mistakes. Think about the brother just going off. Happy, so happy. Even if he made these mistakes, he's not holding him in mind. Did you, answering me, you're not telling me what's wrong, you're still crying. Did you go to some loose woman or some vicious woman? Did you do something? Were you beaten in a fight and you feel shame to stand in front of me because I'm the king now? What happened? I think you've done some great sin, something unworthy, and this is why you're crying. Oh friend, oh brother, answer me. Is it that you are crying because you are separated from the feet, the heart of your dear friend Krishna? Tell me, what is this? What is the cause of this mental affliction? Suski, we use the local word. Trying to breathe without sucking back all the phlegm and spittle and mucus from the body, weeping profusely, subduing that grief with great difficulty. Like a little boy standing in front of his big brother, like a father figure, wiping tears and mucus with his hands, not knowing how to say what he has to tell him. Arjun addresses the king in the fullness of the court, choking, with the voice barely coming out of his chest. O great king, I have been separated and I have been deprived of my friendship of that person called Sri Hari Vishnu Krishna. That person who took great energy and created on this earth goodness. For a moment stood here, is now gone. It was by his favor I was able to win in the kingdom of Draupadi. He stood there next to me. It is by his favor I burned down the forest of the Kandava. It is by his favor my elder brother and your younger brother Bhim were able to win this one and beat that one, and he's listing it out. Too much to list here tonight. He saved us all in the forest when Durvasa Rishi, when Krishna came to Draupadi. Do you remember that discourse? When Duryodhan sent Durvasa and all the munis, all the young boys, the chelhas, the disciples to eat by the house of Yudhishthira. It was Krishna who went and eat the one grain of rice. Do you remember that? He saved us then, oh brother, from the implication, from the sin, from the curse that was come. From him, I was able to get the highest of seats in the house of Indra in heaven when I was looking for the weapons for the fight that was coming. Today, I was separated from that Purusha. These arms of mine holding this Gandiva bow and all that I have attained, I feel that I am without energy, I am lifeless. Because I have been lost. I have lost all the friendship in this life. Oh brother, my heart is breaking to tell you this. What a fool I was that I would take him, this individual, the Mahapurush, the person who is this entire universe, come into one form. And I put him as a friend. I put him as my charioteer. What a stupid person am I. So much opportunity stood in that form when in Anand Ramayana, do you remember that discourse, devotees? When he had when Krishna saves him, how we end up with the Hanuman flag. So tall in that discourse, the competition between Arjun and Hanuman. Krishna saves him, he says, even then I was foolish. Whenever I found him alone, I used to chastise him and tell him all types of hurtful words because he would tell me that he would always stay with me and protect me. And I would sit with him on his bed, I would walk with him, I would converse with him, we would eat together. And no matter what I told him, he would always forgive me with his noble-mindedness, like a father forgiving a son. And I still was so blind that I never saw his true nature. Today that has left this earth. Oh brother, I'm reading verse 22 from chapter 15. Oh brother, in that city you're asking me about Dwarka? In that city there are about 5 people remaining there. The entire city is gone. Krishna has left this earth by the curse of the Brahman that gave when Lord Shiva, now it is not listed here, all it says is the curse of the Brahman, to backtrack for me and you, when Lord Shiva incarnates as the son of Jamanti, known as Samba, and they make the arrow, long story short, that shoots Krishna in his foot. He says because of that curse, all the desperados, when Krishna saw in Sudharma that Kaliyug is coming, he told them, empty the city. Send all the women and the children to Brabhas where Arjun was. And all the desperados, they started to drink fermented wine. And they took up the arrows, these cursed arrows that would destroy the Yadu dynasty. And Krishna says before he leaves this earth, the Yadu family had become so cursed. They had become so puffed up with pride that my uncle, my daddy, this is Krishna, and you cannot touch me. So they became arrogant. They became a scourge upon the earth and became very corrupted. Very corrupted. And he says, before I leave, I need to remove the last weight upon Dharti Mata. I am going to remove my own family. And all those sons, nephew, uncles, if you read that section of Bhagavad in book 3, Balaram and Krishna stand up and they fight with full force. All of them, all the family, all the relatives, all those that stood together in that Kurukshetra war. Balaram stood in front of Krishna and he says, let me protect you, brother, one last time. And it holds to that plow. And he says, in our previous janam, when the battle was done and Balaram goes to the water, he says, it is time for me to return to Vaikunta, Sheshnag. You must come, your bidding here is done, your time is done, come on. He says, in the previous janam, when you were Ram and I was Lakshman, I had to listen to your will. And I told you in our next coming, I would come as the older one. And now, oh brother, now dear Vishnu, it is time for you to come. And it is when, just as in Ram and Lakshman time, Sita Mata had gone, do you remember? Sita Mata had gone, Sri Ram was still ruling, and Lav and Kush grow and they expand the territory and they get married. Lav has a daughter, Hema. The family starts to expand, but it is only when Lakshman dies, when Lakshman is cursed and he gives up the form, it is then Sri Ram is ready to go and he makes preparation for the Suryo River. Likewise, Balaram, after fighting, he says, let me protect you one more time. And they battle, and Balaram is covered in the blood of the yadu. And they walk out of Dwaraka. And he makes his way to the waterway, and Balaram gives up the form. Krishna sees the entire city of Dwaraka. If you look at your online, when you hear people talk about the sunken city of Krishna, that city of Dwaraka goes down, because without Krishna to hold it up, that place could not remain, and the entire city just went into the water. Till today, when people explore National Geography, History Channel, different people go and they look at the relics, it is still there. It is as if the entire thing just went underwater, and after so many years it survives. It is there, preserved in equity, and it is there for you and I. Just Google it, you'll see it, children. Krishna makes his way to the peepal tree, and the blood, where Jara, in different discourse, when Sugriv brother Bali is shot in secret, hiding in the bush, Sri Ram lets loose the arrow that hits Bali. Bali is born back as Jara, now the hunter that shoots Krishna. And the arrow that is lodged in his foot, he says, I can't move it. And the blood is issuing, coming out of his foot. He leans under the peepal tree at the bank of the Yamuna, and Krishna's blood is absorbed by the peepal tree. The power of Krishna is there in the tree. Since that reason, we do his worship in that tree for different purpose, for different benefit. And Krishna gives up the form. This is where, when he's floating away, if you read the Gita Mahatyam, when he's floating off the surface of the earth, Mother Earth comes as a cow and she begs him, where are you going? I begged you to come here, O Krishna, and now you are abandoning me. The entire world is going to go topsy-turvy. It's going to go wrong. And he says, no, I left the Bhagavad Gita. And there he talks about the value of this book. We'll do that passage on our last night. In this way, coming back to where he's talking, Arjun tells his brother all that had happened. Thinking of the feet of Krishna, Arjun's understanding of what is to come became clear. Their time was done. The feet of Vasudeva was no longer upon this earth. And as he indicated to Narad Muni, who was standing there, Narad repeats it now, that his feet are no longer here upon the earth. The age of Kaliyug, the moment Krishna left the earth, Dwapar Yug finished. There are 4 Yug: Krita or Satyug, Treta Yug, the second age, Dwapar Yug, the third age, Kaliyug. Different age have different things indicative. For example, one of the clearest, easiest that we should talk about, and we'll talk about it tomorrow night, but just to hint it tonight, is the lifespan of man. In Satyug, you will hear in discourses, people prayed in the mountains. Bhagirath prayed to Lord Shiva to get Ganga to come upon the earth as the Ganga Dashara is running. Ganga Mata, it takes thousands and thousands and thousands of years. How does somebody live for thousands of years? Panditji, that's madness. It is madness when you think about life as we know it. When you think about just maybe 100 years ago, people lived, the life expectancy was over 100 years. It was common in Chinese culture. You still have that life expectancy where you have aging population in some parts of the world. Italy, in China, you see a very aged, very functional, aged population that could still care for themselves, going beyond 70, 80, 90. But in the description of Kaliyug, and I'm hinting at it, we'll get into it more tomorrow night, the age of man is going to cut down. The lifespan of man is going to cut down. The frequency of diseases are going to rev up, robbing man of the life. Who are the diseases? In Garupran, he says that the diseases are the emissaries or the workers of Yamraj. Sickness, disease, different things to rob a person of their life. Separated from his body, that self-controlled Yudhishthira taught himself, hearing the course of Krsna, meaning he has left the world, the destruction of the yadu. He thinks to himself it is time for him to make preparations to go to Vaikuntha. He needs to find peace. He needs to find liberation. Makes the decision, day and day. Kunti Mata, who called upon in different discourses, called upon, now we know Vasudeva and Kunti's relationship, brother and sister. Kunti looks to him as a son in different parts of Mahabharata. And she says, my sons are going to war, and you are there with them. You are there. Please take care of my children. Up to now, one of the most proficient stotra to chant for the protection of your children is found where Kunti prays to Krsna. When she hears that her nephew, Krsna, knowing his power and prowess, is no longer there, she thinks to herself, who will protect my sons? Who will protect my grandchildren? And in that moment, with that devotion, thinking of him, she found him in her mind and she was speaking to him, and right there she says, oh Krsna, don't leave me here. Don't leave me to suffer. Don't leave me to pain. Don't leave me to face Kaliyug. And in that moment, liberation is granted to her, and she renounces her body. Kunti Devi dies. Yudhishthira, in his body, in his mind, he thinks to himself, I have done enough. And on his crown, with all the prayers and all the different teachings that he had gathered and garnered to overcome the sin, his body is burdened by all the different things that had gone on in his life. And he thinks to himself, when Mukunda renounced this world in his body, in his form, it means, oh Narad, that Kaliyug is coming, the source. Kaliyug, what is Kaliyug? Kaliyug is the source of ill. Kaliyug is the source of trouble. It is the place, it is the thing, it is the embodiment, it is the time when in my kingdom, in my body, in myself, in my house, in my relatives, in my relations, in my friends, the cycle of avarice, untruth, hypocrisy, envy, and all forms of sin is going to take hold. I, my own self will fall. I will become my own enemy. I do not want this. I have suffered enough. Narad Muni says, then in that case, it is time for you to make preparation to head to the Himalayan region, to give up the gold, the crown. You fought the Mahabharata war for this throne, walk away from the throne, walk away from the political the lifestyle. Walk away from holding on to power. Walk away from holding on to the public purse and the taxes, the revenue. Stop thinking about the power and the influence. Stop thinking about woman. Stop thinking about all these things that come with the crown that you have. And start to think about your soul. Start to think about your next step, your next evolution. Self-controlled emperor, in that moment installed on the throne of Hastinapur, his grandson, Parikshit, Vishnu Ratha, but for the purpose of Bhagavad, referred to as Parikshit. This person is equal in every way to the accomplishment of each of the Pandavas. This person represents the next step, the continuity in the Pandavas' lineage. Now, praying whilst he's alive, is it possible to do your final rites whilst life is in the body? Yes. It just means you have to live a sinless lifestyle after that activity. He's doing the same. He says he's worshipping the different air, pranaya, apanaya, etc. Worshipping the elements in his body, and he does the final rite. Shaves his hair, looks at his clothing, now simple, getting rid of the gold and all these other things. His brothers realizing what is happening, they want to go with him too, following his lead even now. Seeing what the Kalyug is bringing, they all get together and they focus their mind on Lord Vishnu, his worship. And as they're getting ready to leave, Vidur, with worship, makes his way, leaves this world and goes. Draupadi dies. Where does Draupadi die? Draupadi dies as the Pandavas are leaving Hastinapur. Draupadi, who is so close to Krishna, brother and sister type relationship, she's called Krsna too. And she calls on him and she says, you saved me many times in this life. Save me now. And he takes her soul. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Tonight, as we enter now into chapter 16, this is where our conversation, all that we have been talking about so far, is the preamble. This is where our discourse is going to begin. Please listen as Parikshit, his story is now going to be unfolding for our understanding. Let's do one shlok. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Sa Uttararas Ye Tanaya Mupaye Ma Iravatim Janame Yam Jaya Shrutu Tarasya Swaya Yuktadaya Sutan. Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jaya Bole Baba Sharanam. Everybody sitting in your home, wherever you're looking on. Jaya Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Uttara, who was the mother of Parikshit. That child grew on the, he's growing now. And he gets married to somebody named Iravati. And this Iravati brought forth 4 sons. Yanmiye, we know the name Janvijay, and the other 2 brothers. He goes and he does as he became king, giving great amount of dan, different type of yagna. And it is this hero, in the course of his tenure on the throne, subdues, verse 4, chapter 16. He subdues one of his conquests. O Saunak Rishi, he subdues Sudra Kali. Apparel, the person, not Kali Mata, please be very clear. Something called Sudra Kali, the person who appeared to be a king and was kicking a cow and a bull. He was able to subdue that person. So now Krishna says, why did the king, while making conquest, subdue Kali but not kill Kali? Who was the Sudra dressed as a Kshatri, striking cow with his foot? What is this? What is the symbolism? What is the significance of this? Please, O great saint, our intellect is very limited. Please give us the inner meaning behind this visage, this little leela, this cinema that we are seeing. Help us to understand what is going on. How did this person end? How did his life end? What happened? What went on? Please give us that. Give us that discourse. And at his death, what went on? What was able to carry on because he's no longer there? Please tell us all of these things. So Jesus says, Kali came into the kingdom. Listen carefully. The embodiment of Kaliyug comes into the kingdom that is protected by Parikshit, highly proficient in warfare. We're looking at verse 11, chapter 16, Skand 1. Proficient in warfare, whilst living in Hastinapur, took up his bow and became very perturbed, very angry to see the sight of a cow being kicked, but at the same time became very intrigued because this wonderful incident with dharma, virtue, in the form of the bull, in the form of a bull. Please listen to this carefully. We will be drawing reference to this tomorrow night. In the form of a bull is walking with 1 foot. It is clear, children, that a bull, for balance purposes, has 4 feet. But in this moment, this animal has 1 leg. Next to the bull is a cow. The cow has no healthy signs, tears, great amount of mucus running from the nostrils and the eyes. This animal is crying as if, according to verse 19, it is separated or somebody had murdered its young. And you could imagine, especially if you have the experience with cows, the type of tears we are talking about. The bull, in the form of the dharma, in the form of the bull, dear lady, as he's addressing the cow, damsel, is everything okay with you? Why are you, the cow, why are you discolored? Why are you pale? It appears you are subject to some deep mental agony. Could you please tell me what is going on with you? Are you sad because you are seeing me without my 3 legs and I'm standing on 1 foot? Are you so sad because we are being overrun by the Sudra, or the lowest caste in the caste system? I'm going to explain that. Don't get carried away. Hold. I'll explain it. Because the celestials have been deprived of their share of the sacrifice, that people no longer do different type of prayer or interested in prayer. What is the cause of your pain? What are you so sorry for? When you look at the females upon the earth, because they are not protected. Listen to this point. Lord, please, everybody who watching, please listen to this point. Dharma is asking, are you sad, O Mother Earth, because the females upon the earth are no longer protected? Just as how you have in America and other places the Black Lives Matter movement, and then you have the counter All Lives Matter movement, and in Trinidad, Trini Lives Matter movement. All life is important. And as we will get to it, when people turn a blind eye to the gang warfare that the African race is experiencing in Trinidad, we must admit there is a problem, because all life is life. If you're a Hindu, you have to admit that. But from my experience, and I'm only saying from my experience interacting with many people, well, that didn't affect me, so that don't matter. That murder, that gang, that killing, that shooting, that kidnapping, that whatever happened, that didn't affect me or my district or my village. So that did not, that smalls, they be real. They be real. So people from the African side will say, you know what? We've been losing numbers every day. We have been, losing sons, grandsons. That's still somebody's son. That's still somebody's grandson. That is still family. That is still loved ones. We all have those family members that let us down. In every race, creed, religion, it have that. But where is, and this is what I'm asking, where is the compassion for each person? One murder is too much. Go again. We had a crime splurge, an outbreak where Indian people had recorded crime. Indian people are having problem. So now there's an argument of who is more the victim, the Indian side, the African side, in the circle in Trinidad. Each equally important. Each equally important. None. One murder is too much murder. Then I heard, let's leave the race thing. Don't get tied up with the race. Listen to this one. This one affects us all. I heard on the news that a young lady went missing, and they could only identify her by a tattoo or something, a marking. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm subject to correction. Where they found her hand by a garbage dumpster in a bag, hand alone. When women are being, some people go a repo for pilgrimage, Ganga Mata Puja, and some people go and find bodies tossed off the side, bodies buried. How many bodies? And women are being tossed and killed and destroyed. And it is as if the women group now is saying, just like the different racial groups, be fair, be fair. Women groups are saying, but women are being targeted. You cannot, in Trinidad, I'm talking about Trinidad, I'm a Trinidadian, bear with me. Trinidad, compared to the other islands in the area, has a higher crime rate. And the cry for things like pepper spray or anything to defend yourself has gone on deaf ears. We arti and we worship all the Devis and the Murti, but we disregard the Devis in our lives. And women have been pandering and clamoring for some form of protection. And it seems we live in a time where it falls on deaf ears, because you want to argue, yes, there's no racial bias, there's no racial targeting, there's no racial profiling by the police. It don't have that. Or by district. But now it don't have a gender-based problem. When we finding women all over the place in pieces. In everything there are two sides, but one murder is too much. One murder is too much. Somebody said Pandit, but women today, you're finding them under the trees in the Queen's Park Savannah. And somebody said, and I'm saying it, listen, I'm talking the truth. If I lie, tell me I lie. People are saying, well, women need to be more conservative in their clothing. Does that mean if I am not conservative in my clothing? I'm asking, I don't know. With this belly, if I put on a two-piece, trust me, I have a different problem. If I am not conservative in my clothing, does that mean I deserve to be murdered? Does my dress code, does that say if I deserve to live or not? For everybody who says, now, as a pundit, maybe I should be professing modesty, and I'm not saying to dress immoral, I'm just saying, if a person does not dress to your standard, does it mean that they know, according to you I'm talking to, does it mean that their life has been forfeited, that they are less than? There's a reason why Mahatma Gandhi doesn't wear, in his story, why he didn't wear the turban. He used to wear the turban as a great leader. It was a sign of honor and, stature. And one day whilst walking, and I'm summarizing, there was this young lady with her chest bare, open, so poor that she didn't have the clothes. She barely covered the lower region, but the upper region, in some parts of India, it was visible. And he felt abashed that I have all this plot on my head for egotistical, for affluency reasons, and here people need this. So he took it off and he wrapped her body and he said, I'm never wearing that again. For different reasons. Different reasons. People wear different things. Does it mean as a woman? Because we could argue morality and modesty. But we need to argue life and death first. And I'm leaving that there. He says, Mother Earth, are you angry because females are not being protected? Children are not being protected. In Trinidad, we have state-run homes where children are being kept for their safety, but somehow in those state-run homes, they are becoming pregnant. People are treating them with all forms of cruelty. They are being left behind in terms of knowledge. They are not given the opportunity. When you look at other parts of the world where girls are barred from the opportunity to have education, in this day and age where equality is a problem, now arguably this will spread into other realms of conversation, people with sexuality and gender-based violence and all that. Simple rule: God is equal in everybody. So everybody has that divine spark. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me. I'm subject for correction. If God is different in heterosexual and different to homosexual, somebody correct me. I'm just saying that if God is in everybody, give everybody same respect. And each person, as a pundit, I could say it. If I looked at the person who did only one little puja, and I judged you harshly for that, and the person who did plenty puja, and I said, wow, you're truly God's creature, I love you more, I would be wrong. The judging is left to God. Correct me if I'm going wrong. What you take this life and you do with it, that's left to you and your choice and your God to judge, not the other people looking on. So in the same way, consider what is going on here. Dharma says, oh, are you sad because the environment is falling off? Are you sorry? Are you sad because in this age of Kaliyug, the Kshatri are becoming possessed by Kaliyug and the energy that is coming, and it is bringing all form of destruction, discord, rampant addictions to drinking, eating, frequenting to places of lewd, bad places, ill repute? Is it affecting the leadership, the Kshatri? And for that reason, the entire country, the entire people are being led astray? Is it this that is causing you tears? It is not a good sign when a cow cries. In all our texts, anytime you see a cow crying, book it. Sickness, trouble, downfall, and downtrodden, it is coming. And even Dharma is asking, Mother, your burden is born, is burden, it is held, it is lifted. The weight of all your burden is lifted and held by the incarnations of Mahavishnu, but now he has disappeared. When people say the burden of Mother Earth, sometimes we don't get that. What is the burden of the earth? There's a discourse between earlier in Krishna Lila where Krishna is speaking to Mother Earth and he says, well, if the earth, if you are the mother of this universe, of your children, and all your children, their home, their lives, themselves, depend on you, Mother Earth, and she says yes to it out of pride, he says, okay, well, then you take all their negative energy. If somebody tonight were to ask anybody here, why is it when we go to have prayer or we go to offer our jal, our arg, our dar, our obeisances in the temple, wherever we may go, why are we bare feet? If we go to in the Sai Baba ashram, if I go into the Vrindavan where the Janam Bhumi of Krishna Bhagwan is, I have to take off my shoes. I can't step into the courtyard of these places with shoes. I need to be bare feet out of respect. The dust, I don't want to bring dirt and filth. But there's also a spiritual reason because of this discussion. He says you take their energy, their electrical energy, the person in your home and you as an individual and barefoot, because Mother Earth, may you, I'm growing off electrically, may you take the negative, the sickness, the stress, the hardship, the confusion, the anger, take it. For all the children here tonight, in science, we learn that energy, Shakti in Sanskrit, energy changes shape, but it cannot be destroyed. It cannot be created. It is fixed. It just converts. It changes. So I have negative energy. I have bad experiences. I have trouble in my life. I want to get rid of it. It has to go somewhere. So we channel it to the earth. And when I bow to my God, my Murti, dear God, you are God. You are the source of good energy. Please, by the Abhya Mudra, please, I touch your feet. I touch the light. I touch the parents' feet, the guru's feet. Please imbibe within me, Swasti Kalyan, Diksha, the energy that is shooting from the Murti of God or the guru or the parent, and shoots invisible, unseen, imbibes upon the person and permeates on their body, positive energy, giving them goodness, strength. For example, I get the blessing of my mother, and every single thing in my life goes my way. What I pray for, I get through. What I endeavor into, I see my way. With my parents' blessings, with my guru blessing, I have my guru blessing. I'm going to enter that competition and I'm going to win. What made the difference? The blessing. How does the blessing work? Supercharging the person's aura, getting rid of the negative. But it has to go somewhere, the earth. So in this age of Kaliyug, so much negative, everybody touching the earth. Everybody, when you pass the heat of the fire, think was saying you come down your body and you tap the earth. Anybody rub your sapping, rub your back. A person born breech birth by their feet and they press your back. You will see them knock their foot and knock their hand on the wall. Let the earth take the negative, and all this combined negativity it's accumulating. Every day people are accumulating. Mother Earth, take it. It starts to get heavy. It starts to get a lot. It starts to become a great burden. Dear Mother, your burden is lifted. It is carried by Lord Vishnu in his many incarnations, but now he's disappeared. Is this the cause of your grief? Tell me now the source of your grief. And Mother Earth says, O virtue, O dharma, when as a mother I lament because I hold my children, but I hold their punishment, I hold their hardship, I hold their negative, then the abode of Lakshmi, Mahavishnu, comes, and like an accomplishment of mine, when you are full with your 4 legs in Satyug, the first yug, when all your legs of dharma are standing, when he is lifting me, I am feeling so happily. When all your legs are standing, what are the 4 legs of dharma? Tapa or prayer, devotion, bhakti, different words. Good acts, Sauch, cleanliness, Satyam, truthfulness, and Daya, mercy. Truthfulness, purity, kindness, charity, forgiveness, contentment, simplicity, self-control, attachment to the land where you have that pride in your country and your region, asceticism, impartiality, knowledge. All these things were rampant, and as time, the cycle of time from Satyug to Treta to Dwapar and into Kaliyug, these things started to erode. Hence you have lost 3 of your legs. You have lost Sauch, Satyam. Satyam, that went in the first year, in the first yug, Satyug, where people were fixated and they were guided to always be honest. Sauch, cleanliness, that gone. Daya, people have very little mercy. And we'll go into these things tomorrow night in greater, detail. You are only left with the tap or the bhakti. The bhakti is the only thing you have there. I lament due to the future of myself. I lament for the future of all the celestials. I lament for those people that are left upon the earth. I lament for all the Vana and all the ashrams, the different constructs that are there to guide the person. I lament for these things. in this moment I stand here in front of you, that there is no one to help me with this burden. That now that he has left me, the burden, it would take millions of people to lift what he did. In the family of the Yadu dynasty, in that charming persona, who, O Dharma, who could bear the separation from that sweet smile, from that loving one called Krsna? And whilst the earth and Dharma were speaking at the bank of the Saraswati river, Parikshit stood by watching. Parikshit witnessed this entire conversation. And in it, he becomes even more attentive as he's listening to what they are talking about. He's watching the symbolism of this bull with one foot, a very grief-stricken, very hard up, hungry, mager, dry cow. And on top of this is a Sudra, a person who is considered to be the bottom of the caste system. Now, there are different signs of that. Some people talk about, for example, people who eat different things. There are many definitions. For example, of Brahmin. Some people say Brahmin is because of your birth. But in all fairness, according to Yudhishthir in Mahabharata, your knowledge, your activity, your acts is truly the judge of, and it really makes sense. It really what really judges the person. Meaning to say, I could be born in a Brahmin home, but never act or conduct myself or take to the practice of Gayatri, wearing the Janeo, living the lifestyle, or the acts of a Brahmin, truthfully. There are many examples of that. In text, for example, in Bhagavad itself, a Jamil, born in the home, initiated and carrying on the Upanayan Sanskar and all these things, and he gets carried away with a prostitute. And he goes totally off course, detracted from this Brahmin lifestyle. However, we are taught that if a person studies the Sastras, he is given the title Sastri. If a person has attained knowledge of 2 Ved, Dube. If he attains the knowledge of 4 Ved, Chaube. So it is sometimes just like how a person can ascertain or attain in the Swami, when you reach a certain level, a person can attain the title, the name change, and so on with the lifestyle. Likewise, people attain based on good and knowledge. It is not just like that. These features, vision, drishti, and yes, if you have the genetics of it, it means that it is within you, because there are many examples of that as well. Just as how in the Kshatriya lineage, the son of the king is going to be the next king. There's no argument with that. Likewise, the genetic child of the Pandit is going to be a Pandit, or we expect so. We would hope so. In this example with the Sudra now, the same genetic, born in the family, that person is there. There are examples of people who would ingest different type of dog and different type of being categorized as that low caste. But one of the things, even in their worship, their concepts, the things they offer in their prayer, is another reason people are categorized in that low form, because of their vision. Vision has a lot to do with it. I am sure many people have heard the word chamar. I remember I was a young guy and somebody explained this for me, because it confused many people, and I want to touch on it tonight. Chamar, a person is a chamar is a chamar. It's an insultive word, but chamar really means the person who beats leather to make a shoe, a shoemaker, in some branches of the dialects of the language. So how does a shoemaker make a person, in demeaning way? How does it equivalent? Let me just go into that. And I'm repeating what one Uncle 100 repeated to me. I didn't get it, to be honest. He says, the shoemaker, imagine you have a shoe and you're beating the leather with those little nails, if you've ever seen it. Little nice little hammer. I loved that little hammer. When I was growing up, I had one and I loved it. But because, you're hitting your fingernail right there, you could imagine you're very trained to focus. Your eyesight is great at hitting that nail head without missing. One clear swing, you'll hit the nail and you'll make your target. But this person, the chamar, the shoemaker, is very good at seeing close things, short term. In the analogy of vision, short term, right here, very good. But he does not have vision for further down the road. The Shudra is an example of that. The person thinks about short-term goals, get rich schemes, those type of things. Quick things. And you'll understand where I'm going with this shortly. But the person who has a better vision, he's moving up the ladder in terms of the caste system for different reasons. In terms of how you pray, in terms of what you do, what you eat, etc. In this moment, Parikshit is seeing a Sudra. Remember, the person who has vision problem now could only see right here. But he's dressed as a Kshatriya, sitting and beating relentlessly the bull and the cow. But we as Kshatriya, Parikshit is brought up in a family. Yudhishthir them would protect cows. Krishna would protect cows. This is part of our religion. How is it you're a Kshatriya and you're beating the animal? What type of thing is this? Beating the bull on tail with his one foot. He's passing urine out of fear. The cow, the Gaumata is crying. And it is because she cannot withstand the blows that you're hammering against she. That she's not even thinking about dropping the head to eat the grass. It is licks after licks. Blows after blows. And Parikshit is looking from his chariot, from his vehicle, looking on. The Sudra is wearing all the gold lace and all the apparels, all the different things. He's looking like this great Lord and Master. And Parikshit says, who are you? And what type of oppressive nature is this? Who are you to be punishing these blessed animals that are under my protection? Know that when Krishna left and the Gandiva bow was vacant, it fell to me that the blessings of Krishna, the rule that we protect the cow, the protective armament of the Gandiva bow, the bow of Lord Shiva, is now with me, and I protect this district. Careful, oh, you false prophet, you false fool. Why are you beating that bull? Why are you beating this mother in the form of this cow? Oh, Surabhi, oh son of Surabhi, oh bison, do not bawl. Oh mother in this form, this foolish king. I don't know where you are coming from, but you are going to stop right now. Oh son of Surabhi, oh bison, where are your 3 legs out of the 4? Why are you disfigured in this way? Who took a knife and cut off your legs? Who is trying to stigmatize the reputation of the king of Hastinapur? We protect cow. Who is trying to say that a cow or a bison living in this area could be damaged in this way? I want to know the truth. Oh Sudra, oh you merciless animal, tell me now, did you do this? And prepare to lose your head as punishment. I will punish every being who is responsible for this occurrence. Dharma, the bison. Such words, indeed, O Pandu, calling him grandfather, great grandfather. O friend of Krishna, it is true. It is true what you are saying. But what is the cause of this? What is the cause of this, my 4 foot to 1 foot? There are 2 explanations. The source of my misery. The saints believe that there's a difference between the single individual Jiva Atma, the one soul, my soul, your soul, and then the Param Atma, the bigger soul. And everything, the miseries of the Jiva Atma, is because or by the will of the greater soul, the Param Atma. You and I are one singular in nature, born alone, die alone. And we are living a life that is affected by the will of Lord Vishnu, God, Param Atma. Now, let me just pause here for a second. And we're going to wrap up shortly. Everybody walk with me. In different religion, we have good comes from God and bad comes from the devil. But in Hinduism, there is no devil. Take that away. Good and bad comes from God. Good and bad comes from God. Tests, hindrance, obstacle, sickness come from God. Saints believe this. The astrologers, Rajan, they believe that the misery, the source of the misery is being caused by the influence of stars and planets. And they hold an outcome in our existence that is born from our karma. So it is us who propagate the hardship, the misery that we all endure. For this reason, people will say it is our karma. So there are two explanations, depending on what you prescribe to. Others say that it is just the time, Kaliyug. Dharma speaking this way to the twice born or the king that has the Janeu. The king says, "Oh dear bull, you are morality itself. You are virtue itself in the disguise of this bull. What providence could cause this? In your 4 legs, Bhakti Uttapasya Tap, Saucham Daya Satyameti. 3 legs have been broken due to pride, devotion, and all these things have fallen to the side. The last leg is left. O virtue, tell me why you are standing on 1 leg and what is going to happen next. That even Kali is desirous to break that 1 leg. Who is the Sudra on his back? The Sudra on his back is the human personification of Kaliyug. He's calling him Kali. Dressed as a Sudra, a limited vision person, poorly taught, weak intellect, short-term goals only, no focus on truthfulness or true development. One way of looking at this, in the age of Kaliyug, in the Kshatri, you will see people of very low status, very low, just to throw it in the fray tonight. We'll continue tomorrow night. You will see a proliferation of poor leaders. If the Kshatri be the politician, if the Kshatri be the person who is guided by providence to lead us, that win the election and to take helm and to guide us to betterment, the Sudra is the person who does not have the drishti or the vision to do the right thing, to do the good thing. Instead, they think of themselves, selfish needs, corruption, untruthfulness, disharmony, discord, racial differences and tension is encouraged by the same leadership. Peace doesn't rule those places. In fact, harm, separation, differences is brooded so that control is gained and garnered more and more. This is one example of what this image of Kaliyug dressing up a Sudra person with that type of division is dressing as the most affluent and wants to be focused only on money and themselves, but they would not focus on what is best for their people, for the dharma, for the truthfulness, the establishment of truthfulness, righteousness, cleanliness. These things are not the four. In fact, you would see things like when they talk about Saucham means cleanliness. You would see in Kaliyug a lot of contamination. You would see a focus on money rather than thinking about the environment. It is not a priority to these people. And this false leadership leads to a break-in. Did you hear where Parikshit says? It is as if Kali wants to break the last foot of Dharma. These 4 feet, we'll go into, I'm saying it again, we'll go into it more tomorrow night. It is as if Kaliyug wants to break the truthfulness, the devotion, break the God and the person, the focus on God. Do you remember a time in our own life, in my life, and I bend my head to every older person here, but tell me the truth. In our homes, we used to light diya, we used to say our prayers, we used to have Ramayana. It wasn't only the Pandit to read Ramayana, everybody was in their Ramayana. Everybody had an idea. To ask children today, I'm sure if I ask Sachin to chant a Doha or a Chaupai Kiasi to save your life. Ask your family. Well, Pandit, we live in America, and Pandit, they don't know that. Okay, so God didn't travel with you across the Atlantic. You don't need God because you live in America. Trouble is not hitting people in America. When will this foolishness stop? Kaliyug wants to break you. Break all your tradition, all your truthfulness, all your cleanliness, all your respect for women, all your limitations of fasting, you name it. It wants to break, and Mother Earth is crying. In this way, he said the Sudra is the person who is an enemy to true politics, the true Dharam Shastra, the true rules, doing things with decorum. There is no rule. Dharma and the earth standing there. Look, as the son of Arjun, the grandson of Arjun, drags his blade and is about to kill Kali. Kaliyug, the form, the pretending king, he's about to die. Overwhelmed with fear, Kali, considering himself ready to be slain, realizing the prowess and the blessedness of this person, that he is capable to destroy him, dropped to the feet and very humbly started to beg, Parikshit, please take mercy, daya, mercy. Don't kill me now, please spare me, protect me, I'm asking forgiveness. And in this way, the king says, you're only doing your duty. That if you're allowed to flourish, you will take hold. But if people put you in check because of the strength of their devotion, listen to what I'm saying, we'll follow up on this tomorrow night, with the strength of their devotion to the feet of Mahavishnu, then you will not be allowed to proliferate. Instead, all your vices, your avarice, your untruth, theft, people, wickedness, giving up of religion and religious practices, spirituality, speaking ill of your text, regardless of what text it is, poverty, deceit, quarrel, pride, these things will be on the decline. But if you're allowed to stretch your arms, then you're going to be very deadly to the upliftment and the final beatitude of all souls. In this way, Kali says, O great paramount, by your command, as he's trembling now, tell me where I can live. You are telling me I should not corrupt people, I should not cause trouble. Well, tell me where to live. O foremost of pious, it is because of you I will go and stay in these places, and I will remain there to please you, out of fear, out of respect for you. Just to touch on it, he says, go, place of where intoxicants, drugs are sold, where people lose control, not to be confused with tablets that have an intoxicating, like cough syrup or something, but where people overdo it and they get carried away, where people wait for sexual favor, or people behave in a sexually charged way and they get carried away, in places of brothel, in places of prostitution, places of gambling or the gambling hall, places of slaughter. And the last one, he starts to beg, please, only in these 4 places. Slok 39, chapter 17, Skand 1. Being further pressed and beg, Raja Parikshit tells him, you go and live in gold, the currency, the money. Remain there and influence through your powers, through the gold, through the money. Untruth, fighting, passion, ignorance, enmity. It's rooted in money. Kali, empowered with vice, fulfilling the rules put forth by the son of Uttara, Parikshit placed him there. These places should not be resorted to or by persons desiring salvation, especially people who are pious, people who are striving for higher heights. These places should not be visited or frequented. They should not be housed by them in their own place. In this way, with the protection of Parikshit, Dharma the bison was given back the devotion, the tapasya, the purity, sauch, and kindness, daya, that he was missing. So the 4 feet at that moment came back under his protection. He says, so long as I am here, that protection is yours. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Tonight, let me pause at this point as we're getting ready to wrap up. In our discussion tonight, we've highlighted the different yuga. We've talked about the feats of Dharma, and I'm using the image of a bison for children to understand. Kaliyug is this entity that has been entered into our domain now for our conversation for the next couple of days. In Bhagavad, and I've listed for you where I've been reading from, Yudhishthir, his role, and handed over the throne after all this time to Parikshit. Who is Parikshit? And Parikshit from here, he's the guy who causes Bhagavad Puran to be elucidated. He subsequent to this, he goes and he does get cursed as time is passing. Kaliyug is suppressed only in those bad places. And he goes and he gets a shrap. And he said that in 7 days a snake is coming to bite you. And he goes to Vyas and he says, Vyas, in 7 days I'm going to die, please. So the Guru gives him 3 times for the day readings, kathas of Lord Vishnu in different forms. And by listening to the katha, Shravanam, listening to the discourses, answering questions, asking questions of Lord Vishnu, he got the liberation. And Taksha does come and bite Parikshit, and he does gives up, this physical form. When he is no longer there, Kaliyug became rampant, and its influence started to grow steadily in different ways. Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai. Tonight I'm pausing here. I want to compliment the team at Bhakti TV. I want to make known that in doing this free broadcast, one of the things that I said happened that I want to make mention. Someone was a member of my group. They work at a radio station, an upcoming radio station in Trinidad. And the person being a member of my Ashram group, the WhatsApp group, was taking the numbers of people. And I'm raising this to apologize from the numbers in the group. And thought, okay, I'm going to solicit without talking to me and saying, Pandit, we want to carry this program on the radio. There's ups, I have to use my language, ups, and within themselves started to reach out to people without conversing with me, without making proper arrangement, and just started to solicit funds, sponsorship. Pandit Keshava having a program, and he needs you to sponsor. Pandit Keshava, I know nothing at this time. So this only happened yesterday, the day before. And when I got word from people started to say, we live abroad, we live in America and in Canada and in England, and people has been calling our phones claiming to be a member of this and be the Prince of Nigeria and different things. And we need money, please send money. So we know that you are having a yagna, but we want to know if it is real, if this is genuine, because we're accustomed that when Pandit Keshava and the ashram are doing any activity and people want to contribute or the help is needed, I would speak to you direct. And for some people, I need you to understand why I do that. So I called the person, I reprimand them, I put them out of the group. Unfortunately, I couldn't have them being exposed to all the devotees. They were targeting people. And I apologize first and foremost. Me and Mommy Baba really humbly apologize. Please forgive us for this person. I take full responsibility for that. And I apologize again. We live in a society, as I said, Hinduism is prostituted. People ride our backs for money. When our programs are put on air, let's be clear, this content, whilst YouTube pays people, while TikTok's paying people, pundits are not the beneficiary of any of these things. These stations take the money and it is for their bills and their profit margin. And if that is their business, that's fine. But do it the right way. There are business people that need to advertise. And again, it's a synergy. Let's work together. We propagate Dharma by spending marketing funds, right? All well. But when you are doing it in an untruthful, only for money, where is Kaliyug? Where is Kali? Where the energy of Kaliyug living? For the advancement of a person and their organization, I have to say, for only money, regardless, at the expense of Dharma, at the expense of the pundit's name, because now my name was listed in everything. My name was calling on everybody's mouth. And to be honest, I wanted to do a free satsang where we was talking about God text. So it is Kaliyug, truthfully. And I need to share that with you because it did happen. And again, I am saying, I am sorry. I'm sorry it happened. But I did deal with it and I've been very open in my response. The lawyers are drafting letters and I will send a copy to everybody for you to see. Nobody's going to do that. And I don't believe that after trying to maintain your name, because let's be honest, the easiest thing is to bad talk upon it. You try hard. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. But in this day and age, in this Kaliyug, as we saying, it is easier to gossip and bad talk and ill speak somebody rather than say a kind word or a good thing about good things. I'm trying to do something good. And somebody tried to profit ill-got funds off of this good little thing. Tonight, I'm saying it, I apologize again. I'm raising it, I'm not hiding it, I'm not shushing. It happened. I'm just not calling any person name or the organization name for legal reasons. Let me be fair. You know how that is going. But everybody, out of love and to share knowledge and to counteract racial tension, not only in Trinidad but throughout the world, we need to fix ourselves. And it doesn't begin with racial tension. There is a problem, I agree. There is a problem. The problem is real. And we have to look at it short-term, long-term, fixing solutions. We have to be mindful of what you believe as a Hindu. You cannot be fighting. There's no such thing as an Indian soul or a Negro soul or a Christian soul or a Hindu soul. Stop being so foolish. There's no Brahmin soul or a Sudra soul. There's no such thing. There's a soul. Did you hear that verse? The Jiva Atma and the Paramatma. The time we take to subdivide each other in all these different categories, when we're really just one species called human. You'll find different ways: bald, full of hair, hairy, not hairy, fat boy, thin boy, maga boy, black boy, fair boy, you name it, rich boy, poor boy. But all these differences is a nice political tool that is used at different times and different places to control people. In India, the caste system for years has been used to maneuver and manipulate people. Just as how you saw the enmity between Pakistan and Hindustan, it was political gerrying to get people to fight each other and not to fight the person who is really causing the trouble. Tonight, as I conclude this first installation of our 3 nights talk about what is Kaliyug, you've gotten some of the history. Tomorrow night we continue. Look out for the broadcast. be on time. Come on, with all we talking, no time for gossip, no time for my opinion on who could make the best chana and aloo. No time for these type of old talk. It is Gyaan. It is time spent in discussing the words of God. Tonight we went through what? 7 chapters, 8 chapters? And I'm glad I got to spend the time with you. If in anything I've said, because I've touched on many things. I've spoken about gender issues, I've spoken about women issues, I've spoken on race issues, which is very, 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 very touchy right now in the world. Be fair. My aim is not to offend anybody. Come on. I am trying as a one singular leader to encourage true Hindu, true Sanatanists. Don't get carried away. Don't get motivated by stupidness. God lives equally in everybody. Don't forget that. Don't forget the women. Don't forget the children. Because this is Kaliyug. This is the time. What we have heard, the freeing of Kaliyug from when Parikshit leaves, there's nobody else to hold him back. So he proliferates. He's spreading his tentacles. And we'll discuss that tomorrow night. Why are the brothels so out of control? Why are the bars, the carnival culture, the drinking, the women lewdness, the everything? Why is it out of control? Where is our society going with all the AI and all the different things, the technology? Are we really getting better? I look forward to hearing from you. If you're looking on tonight, let's not just, I'm a Hindu, my father was a Hindu, my grandfather was a Hindu, so I'm a Hindu. Let me put some thought to it. Let me put some thought. Let me really think, and not be so uneducated and foolish to follow every rambling of a person that just, does not make better sense. We need to make coherent sense because your children are watching you and we want to see betterment in the society, so it has to start somewhere. So let's work together, everybody. Please, if you have your comments and your questions, feel free. Those of you on TikTok, please send me a messages, Bhakti TV, and all your viewing. God bless you and thank you for your support. Pandit Satyanan, I bow to you and your family, and I applaud the hard work that you have been doing and continue to do. May your team and all your staff and your blessed family support you and continue to rise in Dharma. Thank you. Thank you for doing it the right way. Thank you for your support in the right way. My dear people, God bless all you. From we home here, Mommy, Baba, and myself and the Ashramites, I look forward, such a smile when I say Ashramites. Ashramites just mean people who belong to Ashram, everybody. And to my dear beloved nephew and niece for all your support. Everybody have a good night. Everybody put your hands together. Let's say final mantra. No arati and so on tonight. Easy prayer. Forgive me for going over the little time. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva dravinam tvameva sarvam mama deva tvameva sarvam Mama Deva. Together, everybody. Om Shanti. Trust me, we need Shanti in our home. Come on, don't forget to say it. Om Shanti. 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोलो उमापति महादेव की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, श्री आर्य शक्ति माता की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय. To the true principle of Sanatan Dharma we bow. Jai Jai Sitaram. Sitaram, everybody. God bless all you. Have a safe night. Please continue to share the link, the satsangs, send it to somebody. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. We'll be starting just before the 7 o'clock to allow everybody to come on. Please be on time. Send me a question, send me a question, send me a question. If there's something you need me to touch on, if there's something you want me to talk about, send me your experiences. Are you a victim of crime, whether locally or foreign, whatever it is? Send me your comments. Come on, everybody. God bless you until tomorrow night, everybody. Sitaram.